Who's that?
It's cutting edge VR, Flynn.
It looks like it's something from the future, you know?
Flynn took a trip to future London, saw something she wasn't supposed to. Now people from there are trying to kill us.
Transcend humanity with Omen.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to, well, at this certain stage, we've actually reached the very, very last bit required within the regular Swiss play for the Amazon University esports showdown within the UK and Ireland regions for Rainbow Six Siege. My name is Tudor. Alongside me, I've got none other than the big man himself, Cairo. It's an absolute pleasure to be right back here at the Newell for some classic Siege action.
Well, to those I was tweeting about it earlier, it feels like we're all the way back in 2021 with me and you being back in the uni circuit. But I mean, there's nothing more that I'm excited for to see some familiar faces battling all out for these playoffs.
Yeah, indeed. It's a really, really exciting time, and that technically leaves us with just a very, very short couple of weeks before we get to crown ourselves a champion for the spring 23 season so far, and I couldn't be more excited to do it. Obviously, we have got a lot of stuff on the docket this evening, but let's go ahead and start getting the formalities out of the way. Up top, right above myself and Kairo's Melon, you can go ahead and see our opening matchup for tonight. We're going to be taking a look at Trent Warfare versus the Birmingham Brummies, for our first best of one series. And naturally, over the course of this evening, we have got a total of 2 best of ones. So you obviously want to go ahead and, well, potentially get yourself a beverage, microwave yourself some popcorn, because we have got plenty of Siege action coming your way in the next 2 hours. It's going to be a really, really fun night. I'm looking forward to it, mate.
Oh, mate, honestly, I mean, do you know what? Toodles, it just feels like ages since we've been able to chill out, enjoy some Siege, have a good time. And this is what I'm most excited for, is the fact that we get to do that. So
yeah. The last time that we actually done this was during Challenger League itself, and that was a hoot and a half. So the fact that was also like so many moons ago. So the fact that we just get to, as the song usually goes, reunited, and it feels so good, reunited, because we understood.
Go on, give us the next few lines.
Nah, I don't know the rest of the lyrics, man, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, I would have to quickly whip them up on Google if you really wanted to karaoke through the evening, but we're not here for that.
Yeah. No, I think if you went any longer to those, you'd probably end up DMCAing the channel, and we don't really want that.
No, that is a very, very good shout. We definitely don't want that happening. I mean, I could press this funny little button on my audio mixer so that it distorts it, and then obviously Twitch can't do anything about it. But
that's true,
that's you don't necessarily want to hear me echo my way through an entire song to which I don't even know the lyrics for.
I mean, you've got a funny little button. I've also got one. Like, wait a second, you ready?
I'm ready.
Tonight on the new 2 teams go up against each other. Come on, what more could you want?
Oh, dude, that's actually pretty sick. You want to hear mine?
Go.
Okay, let's go ahead and press the button. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
In a world.
Wow.
Shivers already. I know.
No, but anyway, Trent Warfare. Pretty decent university team that's been around the circuit for a long while. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was actually 2 years ago they were able to reach one of the university titles and all for the Birmingham Brummies. I can't remember the last time that I've seen them up and in the mix, but it'll be one team that I'm very looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, and on the subject of that as well, given the fact that this is the very, very last playday within the regular season of Swiss, it does mean that there are quite some stakes, well, basically just drawn into this matchup as a whole. The Birmingham Brummies, they currently sit right now on that 12th position within the seasonal standings. They've got a total of 5 points under their belt, and taking a look at the rest of the standings, which I know you guys over in Twitch chat might not be able to see, but you can definitely go ahead and view them on the website at thenewell.com. If we go ahead and take a look at their opposition, position. The lads on the side of Trent Warfare, they are, if I'm not mistaken, just a little bit further down, unless my eyes start to deceive me. No, they're actually a little bit higher up. They currently lock in that 4th seed right now, moving into playoffs with a total of 6 points, so just one more than the Birmingham Brummies. So you know what that means for playoffs. Winner basically gets themselves a ticket booked to some of the highest level of competition that the university scene has to offer.
Yeah, 100%. And that's one thing that we will need to look out for. Trent Warfare, it's like a game of survival, you know what I mean? You're in this prime position, and then the pressure could start to build up. But to those, a saying which I love to say is that pressure makes diamonds. And well, we will need to see if any of these, if there is any diamonds in the rough in this next matchup, which is going to be on Cafe Dostoevsky.
Yeah, it is going to be super, super fun. It's been a hot second since I've actually casted Cafe myself. It definitely has also seen a little bit of a dip in popularity. It's not exactly something that we saw all too often, at the very least, over on SI. It did obviously get flashed out and played out a couple of times throughout the group stage, but at the very least, in that main arena setting, I didn't really recall seeing it all too often compared to a lot of other maps. So it is really, really good to see what was used to be part of the tier 4 trifecta, as we used to call it, way back years ago, actually make a little bit of a return for a best of 1 blowout.
Oh man, like let's not throw back to that. You'll put me into a state of yeah. Honestly, bro, like that was a time anyway. That was one of the times of times. But yeah, Cafe Dostoevsky. Not much has really changed in terms of the meta, realistically.
Nope.
I mean, trying to think about like the ways and takes, and in terms of the kind of operators that are being played as well, and nothing really flashes to mind. Obviously, very structured heavy map, and I think that's probably why we're seeing the likes of your university teams start to, I guess, feel some sort of magnetization towards it, because you think about it, and an aspect of like it's a map where you're going to feel comfortable, and in a beds to win, that's the best thing to be, is comfortable.
I mean, this map hasn't seen any reworks. I want to say for the last like 3 to 4 years or something. It's definitely been a hot minute since this map has seen any adjustments. And obviously since then, the meta has had more than enough time to just broil about, simmer, and kind of settle on into the point that you can just dig a fork into it. And at the very least, taking a look at the wider climate of Rainbow Six Siege, obviously we're going to see a couple of really, really hot staple operators. For example, the Nook being featured quite often is one of my main expectations, just because of the fact that she is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, you take a look at the plays that, for example, Deepak, Benja, and Noodle were able to accomplish during SI as well, where you're just an entry machine on Nook. And I would be very, very surprised to see that as an operator ban moving into this best of 1. And realistically speaking, at this certain stage with the level of homogenization that has taken place within the 60 plus operators that we now have available in Rainbow Six Siege, almost anyone and everyone is a viable pick.
Yeah, and I think that's really a testament to the kind of balancing changes and stuff like that that's come out, whether you agree with some of them or not. The other day we did have the new season change as well, so that's going to be something to look out for. A couple of in terms of balancing, so that's going to be one thing that I'm excited for between these teams. Just to see something different.
I mean, I don't exactly know the entire list of the patch notes directly off the top of my brain, but obviously one of the biggest changes that we are seeing within this new patch drop is the change to the reload system. So obviously when you are trying to, swap out your magazine, the moment that your magazine and your clip is, ejected from your gun, you still have 1 extra round in the chamber. So that is definitely going to slow down gameplay just a little bit. It's not going to be as massive of a change to the point, or when you compare it with when drop shotting was removed way back, but it is definitely going to just slow down a couple of those engagements here and there.
So I think just to give you a little update, we're just waiting on some server issues kind of fixing themselves, and then we'll get straight in towards the game. Shouldn't be long, it'll be about 5 minutes, and then we'll be good to go to those. But in terms of the kind of general aspect of the map, I kind of say that not much has been changed, but and kind of, do you think it will be still that same structured approach that we're used to?
Yeah, I mean, it really, really depends. There obviously have been so many different iterations of defenses that we see, for example, on Cafe. Obviously, if you know just a singular thing about Cafe, it is that the top site bomb well, the top floor bomb site, I should say. Words are difficult sometimes, you know. It's been a hot second since I've been in front of a camera, so I'm still kind of just getting the mumbles out of the way. But when it comes to that top floor defense, not a whole lot has changed. Obviously, we have seen a couple of iterations that have dropped the pixel angle and the pixel position where you would usually just slap a shield down below and have a Wamai or a Jaeger hunker down below, and we've seen that swapped out for a bathroom hold with a shield instead. Rooney has also definitely eased a couple of bits of those processes as well, but at the very least, when it comes towards structure, when we're visiting some of those middle floor bomb sites, obviously mining and dining or library and dining as well, everything is basically going to remain almost entirely the same. You're still going to have your standard takes towards that top floor over towards the cocktail bar, and maybe we'll see a couple of sort of like red staircase offenses just to get right into that dining or that mining bomb site and just easily get a plant down. But those have been more than hit or miss. Those have been some of the most inconsistent executes that I at the very least have seen in the last couple of years. So that level of structure is something that I don't necessarily expect to see, but when it comes to the rest of the bomb sites and how the offensive teams are going to tackle that is going to be like right as the back of my hand. It is going to feel so familiar.
Kudos. Sometimes when we work together, I just like I'm just amazed. You know what I mean? I just love to have the knowledge on the broadcast because you know I'm a silly goose sometimes. I'm an absolute silly goose. So I'm glad to have you here with me.
I mean, I try to go big brain whenever the opportunity arises, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I still love shouty at pixels more than actually just talking about the functionality of the pixels. That stuff kind of bores me to death, but I know there are a couple of you guys in Twitch chat that do really love that little bit of analytical approach. So I'll do my best to not disappoint, and I'll do my best to also not bore y'all to death.
Yeah, I love that, bro. I mean, don't worry. I'm here to bore people to death. You need to listen to me for crying out loud. I think we are almost about ready now, just to give you guys just a little update. Keep you nice and fresh. You know, you don't want people going away. Like, you know, you got the wireless headset to those. You're like, you know, where you're washing the dishes. You're like, when does the map start? It is close by. Don't worry, guys. We are going to get in towards it soon. So with that being said, to those, I'm trying to think. Like, I think we have confirmation to those. I'm hearing it in my ears that we will soon be going to the map. Just give us a couple of seconds. We are just loading in and getting in towards these ban phases.
Yeah. It is going to be really, really exciting. And at the very least, you know, I'm super duper tempted to do exactly what we've done in Berlin with the operator ban phases and just start off like that little bit of an but it feels a little bit awkward just the two of us. I'm kidding. Flores. Okay.
You're not doing the way.
No, I mean, Flores did actually catch me a little bit off guard, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's fierce.
Not something that you typically expect to see. I mean, I would expect the Flores ban on Oregon, for example. On Cafe, bit perplexed at it.
I mean, it makes sense though. Realistically, if you're Trent Warfare starting on a defense, in terms of the shields and stuff like that, if that's what they're going for, that will protect them that slight bit more. Dokkaebi next one makes sense again for me because realistically, we've seen the rise in Dokkaebi, especially with those impact EMPs. So yeah, another one that makes sense for me.
I mean, on top of that, at the very least, the extended barrel buffs have made her DMR that's much more of a force to be reckoned with as well, to the point that you can literally just shred through any defender in just a couple of shots as well. Obviously, the logic bombs, they're never necessarily going to die out, and those impact EMPs just drops the need to bring out redundant operators such as Thatcher in this current day and age. Azami, though, is... Well, I don't necessarily say it's to be expected, but she's just so damn good at everything that she does. You don't want to deal with those kinds of headaches.
Oh, bro. I mean, this is the thing, though. With Azami, like, it's kind of like part of the furniture when we get in towards the ban phase. I'm thinking towards, like, remember when it used to be, like, the same kind of trio of bands where it was, like, Valkor, Mira. I'm trying to think what else there was. Like, Thatcher as well, when they used to be in that state.
As well, back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, kind of... it makes sense. I'm interested that Solus made their way through. One thing that will probably, and obviously, as you were talking about earlier, about the kind of sorry, I just had an absolute brain fart. Talking about the nuke that they also got through.
Yeah. I mean, we could potentially see a 7th, or I wanted to say 6th pick, but instead it came out as 7th, and I know in my head it's actually the attacker repick. We could see a repick over towards that Nook in the next 11-ish seconds, but honestly, yeah, the fact that, as you mentioned, Solus made it through the ban phase is definitely surprising just because of how prevalent she is. We've seen numerous examples over the course of SI as well, to the point that you've got players such as Doki who are outright able to sweep the rug from underneath the feet of W7M in the grand finals just because, oh yeah, plants going down, don't worry, me and my funny goggles and my P90 have got us covered.
Well, as things start to progress, it started with a little bit of a vertical roam, but they've started to retract already. Birmingham actually decided to change things up in terms of the agent select and went for a really aggressive looking agent, operator composition. But as things go, they're taking this one slow, Toodles.
Yeah, obviously you have to address the presence that is inside of that bakery, but looking over towards Wedding, we've got a blitz already geared up and ready to just hightail it directly on through. Fire is on the opposite end of that window with a Vector, and they're going to be the first point of contact, but at this certain point, we're just waiting for them to hit the go button. And speak of the devil, here it is. Oh, the coverage is just on point from Fire. Opening frag already backed by them, and Enchanter manages to get their way with a read, well, with a trade as Crazy comes on through to just further that man advantage for the Brummies.
Well, now in a 4 versus 3, there's a little bit of a stall, but Crazy finding that pick's absolutely massive. The site completely opened up here, but Fire needs to get in for the retake. It doesn't work out. One player left on towards the stairs. It is Dig, the big baller, but well, they'll need to ball hard for the rest of this round if they want to find a first for Trent Warfare.
Yeah, I mean, the site's already compromised at this point. Diffuser's going to go down in about 5 seconds. And somehow scrounging together a whole host of frags may seem nigh impossible, as Dig does manage to get away with just the first, but it'll only be kept at the 1. Man was talking a little bit of smack before we hopped into the action as well. He said, get ready, lads. I'm going to go ahead and just dunk out 3 kills. Well, you managed to accomplish exactly 33% of that, my man. A for effort, but the execution, gonna give an A for Birmingham because they got the round ultimately.
That's what it all matters, is that I'm noticing some familiar faces. T-Moz, I think that's Digga G on Dig the Big Baller, I believe. I'm not too sure.
Maybe.
And Kevin Eater's obviously a big one that I remember from back in the day. So, I mean, already some good stuff being said, some good siege being played between these two, and already kind of showing us exactly what they have in pocket. Yes, it ended up a little bit chaotic in terms of the execution, and it was a quicker execution than what we're used to, but still, good siege.
Yeah, at the very least, on the side of Birmingham, it did look a little bit sort of skittish at the very start with the Blitz, trying to just rush on in through that Wedding window. It was immediately shut down. Fire did a brilliant job of making sure that that entire avenue was completely crossed off, but I do want to go ahead and visit the actual bakery hold itself, because on paper, it is damn strong. You've got yourself T-Moz on the Warden with a couple of ADSs directly behind that cash register. This is theoretically, on paper, a hold that you shouldn't easily dismantle in Birmingham. They basically were able to outright clear this entire room of the map in about 30-odd seconds.
Well, now as things start, they start as basically as they did last time. The only difference this time being the flashes have went from a blitz on towards a Ying, and we know exactly how good that can be. Already shooting out those drones, yeah, big time. T-Moz being a key player. Already dropping off though, Toodles. Very early to give up bakery here.
I don't exactly know if he knows that there's a Ying on the opposite side of the map, but I would be pretty scared even if I had those goggles that Warden dons. Crypty, though, is going to draw first blood, shuts down Enchanter, and that is the heart breach completely wiped off the face of the earth. So now patching up that rotate doesn't seem like a bad idea either.
Certainly does not. I don't know where that nade net, but I know where Matt went. Right back towards the spawn point. Nice entry from Kevin Eater. Although Fire shuts it down completely, shutting down the push completely. It's down to a 4 versus 1. It's all up to crazy.com. All the way through on towards Whiskey Bar. Although, hold up.
We're holding. Ah, they know. Oh, and a wild round of 762 just manages to magnetize itself to the head of Crazy right there. Not exactly sure he was expecting that hit marker to land on his end of the client, but it did regardless. Either way, though, crazy round coming out from Crypty right there, because he was able to get himself two just absolutely through the roof impactful kills at the very start of the round. A, shutting down the hard breach. B, shutting down what I think was the Nomad, but obviously my memory's a little bit hazy sometimes. But still, managing to get yourself 2 entries on the defensive side, considering how horrendous things went around during that first round, you have just redeemed yourself in the entire squad as Trent are able to tie things up.
As we head in towards another round here again, this time we're actually getting to see a different site, a little bit of scenery now. 2 doors of Cafe. Obviously it's one building, but sometimes you like to go and see elsewhere. Remember, Trent Warfare did start their first round, I believe, with a little bit of a vertical roam. So I'm wondering if we're going to see something of that roam in terms of going 1 or 2 below, just to cover off any of Birmingham's kind of map control. I'd imagine so. I would love to see it, but I don't know if we will.
Yeah, don't exactly know. Birmingham, at the very least, from what we saw in those first 2 rounds, they weren't very keen on dealing with the roam presence altogether. They were kind of just taking a much more let's wait and see approach, where they kind of just let the gunfights present themselves, and they were more than happy to eat them up. Obviously, the script flipped in round number 2, and now we're going to see the side of Trent be a little bit more proactive. Fyra and Co, I believe that's also Dig himself all the way on the bottom floor, looking to maybe pick up a couple of drones, get a couple of wild sprays on through, but either way, they are going to be a focal point for Birmingham to deal with.
It's about finding those focal points. Fyra just gaining the information by roaming about in terms of people hitting windows, etc. But the biggest form of information obviously coming through these drones that are already starting to scout out the top floor, finding exactly what they need to find. And I mean, this is the big one that you do need to find. There is support elsewhere. Being and Digga, the big baller, close by in towards mining. The Twitch drone, no, go in the hunt of some of those electric utility.
Yeah. I mean, that Twitch drone is super valuable in, for example, taking out the Evil Eyes that Maestro's already placed down. With just 2 shocks, you can easily deal with one of those cams and, well, basically pack it into the Forever box. Crypty, once again, just doing Crypty things, draws first blood for the 2nd time in a row. And if this trend continues, then Birmingham are going to be in a little bit of trouble starting off every single round with a man disadvantage.
I think crazy.com, I'm not too sure exactly where that was. I don't know if Strico's just shown us that they were in towards Cigar. But nonetheless, interesting to find themselves so early into, or so late in towards, oh, right, okay. I was about to say, interesting to see if they were so far
deep into it, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was trying. I couldn't get my word out, honest to God.
It happens to the best of us, and it happens to lads like Crazy as well, where he just comes and dug a little bit too deep. And obviously the side of Trent, they were already on the case. Fyra, well, he blows Kevinator sky high straight into next Friday as well. And now the side of Birmingham with 60 seconds left to play, they have got to somehow salvage this entire situation. And Chancher manages to narrowly get himself an injury, but ultimately it's all down to Matt with the 417 in hand, and he doesn't even reach contact with the new platform, caught mid-air like a clay pigeon right there, as we have Trent picking up what is hands down the flawless of flawless rounds that we have seen so far.
Goodness, I mean, it really was a complete and utter collapse there from Birmingham. They dropped to hatch. Oh, goodness, but it is what it is. 2 those. Sometimes that's just the way that things have got to go. But with that being said, I mean, they've already got 1 round, and as Siege kind of naturally progresses, we expect the attackers to at least get 2 or 3. So I don't think this is the worst situation. I wouldn't be panicking if I was Birmingham yet.
No, there is no reason to panic at all at this stage. We're only 3 rounds in, and if you're expecting to walk away into the halftime with just 2 rounds on the attacking side, then you are just 1 round away from accomplishing your goals. But obviously, as attacker prevalence has risen over the last year, it would be a crying shame if Birmingham don't actually get away with a whopping 3 rounds. Either way, though, I thought we were revisiting the top floor, but that's just the initial setup that's actually taking place right over here. We are obviously down below inside of reading and dining. And with this hands-on approach that Trent are employing towards just grasping onto that top floor, it means that Birmingham are going to have to very, very carefully expend their resources and manpower and brain space accordingly to deal with the absolute conglomeration of a puzzle that Trent have basically laid out for them.
This is going to be a pretty tough one. It's always an awkward site to attack. I never think of this as reading as a tertiary site. I always think of it. I think that is Matt unfortunately disconnecting, so it will be a 4v5 for the rest of the round because we have started. But the point I was making is I always find it very, very tricky just due to the sheer fact that, I mean, you essentially need to attack that site as if you were attacking the top floor.
Yep.
And there's so many things to clear out.
There's so many things, not only to clear out, but just so many headaches that you have to deal with. On a little bit of a side note, the new patch actually comes bearing gifts. Take a look at the very, very top of the screen. You can see a much more laid out and complete version of the gadget economy that wasn't exactly present before in previous seasons. And this is like music to my ears, but only for my eyes.
It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. Well, some of the UI can do some work. I'm thinking of those bleepers over to the left. But sorry, I pointed that out, guys. Just something to think about. But no, it is. It really shows us exactly what has been working, what has not been working, and what is actually on the board. There's another drone gone, shot out by Fire. But in terms of what's being shot out by Birmingham, not a lot. There's not a lot of map control being taken. They are really stalling out here.
Yeah, you can already see the likes of Crazy very, very hesitant of actually cracking open that window. Up until this point, he was just watching out for the garage run out, and he's going to get shut down. Crypty is doing God's work right here. There's no way that you can plan for that level of killer instinct. This Fire also joins in on the fun, and this entire collapse that was supposed to come in through that cigar side, dropping down through the top of red, dismantled, gone, wiped off the face of the earth in the blink of an eye. Trent just Thanos snaps their way into a third round.
My goodness gracious me. That's... I mean, it just seems to be the same thing, though. It seems if Trent Warfare have found a kind of grasp on this match, found exactly what Birmingham want to do, controlled the choke points, and I guess just obliterated them from that point forward.
Yeah, it's basically Crypty. This is just Crypty's planet, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys with a keen eye just already caught the fact that he is obviously flashing that new little player background card. The fact that he hit champ last year and he just wants to well, I guess the word is boasted to all of the filthy casuals out here in the server. Well, he's certainly walking the walk and talking the talk. He is tied for top fragger with Fire as they both got 7 kills apiece. So obviously they've got massive bullseyes on the back of their backs. Birmingham have got to find a way to deal with it, because if they don't, then Trent could very easily pick up next 2 rounds and a hip and a scotch really, really quickly.
Well, now as we start to head in again for another round here, a nice little setup. Remember, back on this bottom floor, Birmingham like to be very, very direct towards the Trent Warfare setup. Trent obviously started out with a little bit of a roam. Oh god.
No one.
Yeah. So used to seeing him hit.
Yeah. That's what happens when you got about like 7 years worth of experience playing on Cafe. You just don't spawn over by the docks anymore for fear of those kinds of spawn peaks.
I always spawn at docks though. That's the one place I feel safe.
Really? You're a docks kind of spawner? Dude, I'm a Christmas market kind of guy, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude.
Nah, bro. Look at those windows like above. Like, I'd rather deal with someone running out from there than someone running out or peeking from 3rd floor, you know?
I mean, true. If someone comes out, you know, for a run out from that Christmas tree, you're obviously hoping that they're bearing gifts, and then you just quickly ruin their day with a nice little headshot. Yeah. That's completely fair. I just like to pre-fire all the windows towards piano in that top floor.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, as we look towards what's happening here, Birmingham going for a top down, and obviously Trent Warfare have a couple of surprises left up their sleeve, that being Fire, and obviously Dig the Big Baller. As you can imagine, it is my favourite thing to say, and I hope you guys are enjoying me seeing it.
I am, 100%.
Solus just hiding up on white, misses the opportunity to get found out though. And there isn't anyone to catch the rotate either. No. Fire has managed to meet up with the Solus though.
Let's see. Ooh, unscopes at just the wrong time, and he's actually looking over towards Laundry. Narrowly misses the shots and lights the heck out of Mad, but that's just a prime gunfight for Kevinator to capitalize upon. So man advantage bagged for Birmingham. That's a really, really good start.
Massively. Now Birmingham can really start to extrapolate the rest of the map. Now start to get the sledgehammer back to, or maybe not a sledgehammer, but a buck shotgun does the same amount of work. Get the soft destruction going. There's an easier way of saying it. Start to rip this site apart and find exactly who is hiding in the corners. Already we are seeing the hatch being broken in towards the British area, the freezer area. But with that being said, not much work being done to remove players on the bottom floor so they can easily just subside and we'll just wait for people to fall in towards their gun barrels.
Yeah, Trent have got a lot of horizontal control. They've still got presence over towards Whiskey VIP in the lower red side, and that needs to be addressed. Obviously, the only side presence is Crypty. He's very prone to one of those vertical angles as those candelas start ringing out in the background. Kevinator capitalizes on yet another. Dig is finally going to clap back with one of his own to put us in a 4v3, I should say.
Just keeping that man or person advantage. It just keeps getting traded back and forth. Trade to win. That's usually the way things go, and it's going exactly like that right here. His team was on low HP. And well, low on the bullet count, misses all out on that. And Birmingham finally find a second here, Tudos, as we head in towards the last and final round of this half.
Yeah, that was quite the change of face that we actually saw from the Brummies in this round. I didn't necessarily think that they actually had a lot to show off in the opening 4 rounds-ish, with the sole exception of round number 1, getting themselves that victory on Kitchen, but that looked a lot more cohesive. That looked a lot more laid out and the kind of siege that we should be expecting from their side. They were much more cohesive and competent on clearing out and dealing with the roam presence. Obviously, they had a really, really good sort of pinch already set up, dealing with that middle forward presence by dropping the buck down into Laundry, then also having Kevinator just descend those white staircases, and just like that, they were able to get themselves an entry and then slowly but surely progress towards an execution, dropping through freezer, completely corrupting the bomb site. And at that certain point, I think the key difference was the fact that they actually dealt with Crypty, who was the only anchor on the bomb site. You remove him from play, guess what? The only answer that you have are all of your horizontal roamers inside of VIP and Whiskey Bar that suddenly have to retake the bomb site, and that just doesn't fly.
It's unfortunate. It's so unfortunate because I feel as if like they were almost there, Trent Warfare. Like the site starts to get ripped open. There was the lines of sight in to kind of to help take the engagements, but the engagements are just lost as well. I mean, at the same time, those things happen. We see another run out from the same door. Birmingham well aware what's going on here, and Trent Warfare not getting paid out.
They are not having it. They are not going to engage with those runouts. They're just going to once again carry out the regular pilgrimage towards this top floor and just get to work as one usually does. We are back on that top floor, so it is to be expected. The roam presence from Trent Warfare, a little bit minimal compared to previous rounds, and I don't really blame them either, but hopefully this clear for Birmingham is going to work out a little bit better, because the last time that they dropped down these hatches, they were fed into a meat grinder that is known as the cigar kiosk.
As things start here, just trying to find exactly if there's anybody peeking out, but nothing really being found here. It's just angles being held. Just trying to dissect the site. Like, good stuff. In terms of the information, it's all about finding this utility to those. And remember, we did see, obviously, the Valkyrie being brought, and that's exactly what the IQ is trying to identify. And we have seen fire up, pop up time and time again here.
Oh. Drone got a little bit blocked over there. Happens at times. Either way, though, red drop is yet to actually come on through, and you can already see Trent. They've got protocol set in stone. They already know what's on the way, and they've started to prepare for it, but can they actually prepare for a hop into that mining room? As you can see, Kevinator trying to work his way down below. That's going to be a little bit more difficult to combat, as that red wall is continuously being torn at, and we do have a little bit of repel coming on through. So, yeah, dealing with Fyra, who is stuck on an island over towards stage, looks to be a little bit easier.
Recovered the diffuser.
Oh. Yeah. Can't even deal with it. Fire actually gets away with a gunfight onto Kevin here, and Crypty is just going to continuously add to the tally. Fire with the C4 from down below is going to shut down this entire ingress towards that stage in Piano Room. Crypty, like the absolute brilliant anchor that he is with the AUG, is just collecting kills left, right, and center. Birmingham seemed as if they had a plan set in stone, but that stone was picked up and thrown miles away by Trent.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Yep. If it's on par with that of Trent, then we can definitely be in store for a competitive second half over here, because let's be fair, I think Trent played that last top floor defense completely brilliantly. They almost didn't put a foot wrong, with the sole exception of Fire having dropped down below, but even then he still makes up for it by shutting down Kevnator instead of mining. And ultimately, by the time that kill happened, he goes in for another C4, or at the very least, the fact that he gets that kill onto Kevnator warranted a C4 kill in towards that red breach ingress, and it just worked out completely brilliantly. And it just goes to show how, yeah, there's a little bit of a ripple effect that takes place in rounds. Imagine if Kevnator won that gunfight down below. Suddenly, Fire doesn't get a C4 kill, and maybe it could have been a 3-3 half. Who knows? That's all in an alternate universe. But in this one, currently, Trent are taking a page out of Birmingham's book, as they've also decided to employ the ink.
Reloading.
So much value.
Sequential breaching activated. Drone activated.
Yeah. Here's a little thought experiment. Do Candelas actually get caught by ADSs and my pancakes if they're rolling on the ground, do you think? Okay. Because it makes sense for them to be caught by ADSs, but I just don't think I've seen a pancake snag one out from the ground itself. Tangents aside, as much as I want to engage in thought experiments, kills and action is happening, and neither side is going to look better for it. We're in a 3v3 scenario, as Crypty is once again going to tip the scales back in the favor of Trent, as they are eagerly hunting down this fifth round.
Defense is up.
Attackers recover the diffuser.
Market going out. Perimeter defense active.
No, I am a little bit scared for Birmingham right now because they have absolutely no freezer presence. Realistically speaking, Trent can just go for a default plant over by the pillar, and then Birmingham have absolutely nothing to try to deny this because they have no C4s. Those have been expended, and as the Candelas come on through, a drop, and, well, plans are going to start to be set into motion. Crypty's trying to stick down that 7-second defuse, and Kevin comes on with a rotate, the MPX. Sometimes the P shooter is good for just the one, and a trade does come on through, leaving him in a 1v2.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Oh.
Seconds remaining.
That is absolute peak game sense coming out from Kevinator right there. It all started off with him going for the wide swing to shut down that default plan over towards Pixel because, hey, it was free real estate at the end of the day. Trent had no reason to even bother with Piano anymore because it just wasn't part of the plan. And then you have Kevinator just reoccupying that space. Obviously, there were some footholds in the wall, so you could easily shut that down. But Trent, they were so hard stuck, or not hard stuck, I should say. They were very, very keen on getting refrags, which they did. Bringing us back down to a 2v1 situation was exactly how things should have gone according to the plan. But then Kevinator just decides, oh no, wait, I've got an MPX and some 9mm with your names written all over it, and he just tears them a new one afterwards. Finds the gunfight for the actual diffuser coverage, immediately relegated down to a 1v1. And in the 1v1, the Zofia couldn't stick that 7-second defuse because if you do, you're a sitting duck. Decides to go on the offensive, and Kevinator was just ready and so welcoming with opening arms.
10 seconds left. 5 seconds remaining.
Sure.
Attacker's objective is to defuse the bomb.
Yeah, and also there's 3 shields. When's the last time you've seen 3 deployable shields in a defense? Yeah. It's going to be really fun to see exactly how they tackle this, because there is just a whole host of issues that they have to deal with inside of this bakery hold, of which Matt is actually the anchor, the smoke. So obviously you can toss out those toxic babes that just continuously hold on to this piece of real estate, but you don't have a scope. Skitters does with the MP5 SD, and that would be better for taking up these engagements. And Trent, they're going to start to work their way in. Matt, I fear he's as good as dead, as Crypty is going to light him up, and Fyra on the rotate is going to shut down the presence on top of that. Kevinator is going to reoccupy the space, but it's ill-advised. And Fyra's up to, I think, about 3 kills, including the TK by now, putting us in the 4v2. Yeah, there's nothing stopping them at this point onwards. They have slowly taken their foot off the gas pedal just for a little bit while they are continuously reevaluating the situation and seeing exactly what kind of control they have to work with. They don't know about how far deep Skitters is into the actual bomb set. He has no line of sights to deny any kind of entries, but he does have a yokai drone, but those things have lost their invisibility like so many moons ago. So once the first blast goes on through, this yokai drone is as good as dead. At the very least, it'll buy them a couple of seconds right here. And there's Crazy trying to take matters into his own hands. He gets shut down. Skitters, not long for this world. It is Dig, the big baller himself, on cleanup crew, just immediately wiping the floor with the rest of the defense.
It's very... No, I don't... It's just unfortunate the way the gunfights fell. On top of that, again, as you said, to those, you completely described it. The Yukai's not going to be much help, especially when you look towards the fact that realistically they're not invisible anymore. I mean, the clock still had about 60 seconds left. Yeah. Birmingham, Trent Warfare had so much time to play with that they actually didn't know what to do. They waited for the players to swing. They took them out. Blah blah blah.
You can do as much as you want to prevent the inevitable, but like it's gonna happen. Yeah. Trent are gonna convert that round 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, you get to once you get to that stage, it is hard to kind of not see how it was going to end up with that result. But 5-3, Birmingham now have an idea of how Trent Warfare wants to attack, and we'll see how they adapt to it.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, Birmingham, when it came to this bakery hold, I wasn't really sold on the initial setup. but that's just personal taste because I truthfully have no idea how capable Matt actually is in terms of overall gunplay. I mean, the kill, at the very least, his kill score right now reflects one thing, which isn't all too great. But realistically speaking, sticking somebody with an SMG-11 extended barrel behind that bakery reception just really isn't the play, because you've got a couple of different angles from which you can deal with that on the attacking side. You can hop onto the car that is directly behind the armored van. You can stand right in the doorway, and as we saw previously in the last round, you can also walk through that doorway because there was so little resistance that Matt was able to exert. So Kevinator is going to take up the mantle of responsibility instead with something that's a bit more accustomed to long-range engagements.
Okay. Kevinator's just this high fire rate gun, especially in the online scenarios. I mean, we know exactly what the Vector can do. A C4 in pocket, that's going to be a big problem, but Kevinator's playing for the life here.
Yeah.
And as all the util starts to come through to those.
Let's see. We got flashbangs prepped and ready, and Crypty is on standby with an HE on top of that. So, realistically speaking, they should be able to deal with this setup fairly easily, unless Enchanter decides to go for a swing, which he does. There's Sky removed off the face of the earth, and they still haven't actually shut down Kevinator either. He's just going to take matters into his own hands, shut down fire, and now suddenly Birmingham are in the dumps. Matt finds Dig on top of that, and suddenly a 5v2 scenario ensues when Trent Warfare were so confident in their plan.
Sometimes being confident isn't all you need. Sometimes to those, a little bit of luck can go a long way, and that's exactly what we're seeing at this moment in time. As Crypty tries to get aggressive, does so. The double swing working out in Crypty's favour. Somehow collecting two, although the trade's there. It's been completely shut down by Crazy.com. And well, that is the end of that one.
Brilliant stuff coming out from Crazy on top of that. At the very, very end, it's not really often that you'd actually go for such an aggressive swing back into lost territory, because realistically speaking, like, sure, you're in a 3v2 situation. What is the most logical thing that you will do? Probably just hunker down and let the time wind itself down. And at that certain point, you know, the ball is in Trent's court. But Crazy is like, no. I've got an MPX, and I can hold mouse 1 better than you can. And he did just that. Still, though, I do really, really appreciate the siege that we saw from both teams, because both parties, they played that as brilliantly as you could have. Birmingham, they acknowledged their mistakes from the previous round and actually stuck a competent weapon back inside of that bakery reception. Kevinator did a brilliant job of also getting himself a frag after the ADSs were completely exhausted, and Enchanter actually went for a wide swing from kitchen prep, which is something that we didn't see in the previous round. Trent, they played that by the book, but the duels didn't go their way, and that's just sometimes how the cookie crumbles.
Sometimes, do you know, the cookie crumbles in many different ways. And looking towards this round and how the cookie's going to crumble here, I think this is the exact same setup that we saw from Birmingham on that first occasion. There's not much change from that aspect. And obviously that did come down to a clutch, so that doesn't fill me with much confidence here, Toodles.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking back, what were sort of like the main issues that we actually saw arise from Birmingham's defense? There was a lot that sort of went wrong towards Piano and their ability to hold on to it, if I remember correctly. Amongst other things.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many things.
Probably a few too many for me to count on all my fingers and toes, but either way, let's see if they can rectify these exact same mistakes. Matt is once again going to be behind that pixel shield. Crazy is down below. Exactly to what ends, I'm not sure, but he does have a C4, so that spells a little bit of hope for the side of Birmingham.
Hope is exactly what you need. And already, LA control being picked up by Crypty. Just getting already? Oh no. Oh, they're just lucky there's no one close by, so surely this will be just a fodder C4 going and it blows up. In terms of what's actually being done by the sledge, apart from taking that space, not a lot.
No. On the subject of that C4, there was 110% a Valkyrie camera inside of Piano. The moment that someone goes within the blast radius of that C4, Kevinator is going to call and just say, you know, ring that Nokia 3310 and just watch flesh and blood be splattered across the wall. It's gonna happen eventually. We did see our observer Schrickle also just highlight that Valkyrie camera. Since then, Birmingham have completely evacuated this piano side, and they're just gonna let Trent occupy all of this territory for free. 60 seconds left. So now time is really starting to apply pressure onto the shoulders of Trent.
I wonder if the plan here for Birmingham is just to play for deny plant. I mean, obviously you've got the Valkyrie cameras, but they're very, I don't want to call it scared, but they certainly aren't looking for gunfights either. They're not wanting to actively hold things, and well, that's where things can start to fall apart. Here comes the House of Cards, potentially, as Crypty's picked up Skittles. There goes your Wamai. Here goes the run out. Oh my goodness, is that the, what's happening?
Well, what's happening is Crypty is trying to rectify the situation, and Crazy with pings is going to find a kill vertically. Crypty is now left in the 1v3, and he has an inkling as to where Enchanter might be lying. Quickly renders it back down into the 1v2, and a triple on the cards means that an ace is in store. But Defuse is not in his back pocket. He has to seek these engagements, and Crazy on the white stairs is more than ready to just welcome him with open arms. A really, really great offensive attempt coming out from Trent, but no, Birmingham just a little bit better at every single turn.
Oh, bro, I was so surprised to try and figure out where the hell
Everything was happening,
going.
right?
Yeah, I mean, Schreikel did an amazing job of capturing everything, but like, oh my goodness gracious me, the surprise of like just jumping out windows, swinging left and right. Oh,
Yeah,
beautiful
I know.
stuff.
I mean, honestly, huge testament, big shout out to Schreikel for catching what was a true smorgasbord of raw unbridled siege action.
A what board?
Smorgasbord.
SMORGUS?
Close. Smorgas. Yeah, SMORGASBORD. It is a Swedish-style buffet comprising of a variety of cold sandwiches and other dishes. So it is just within sort of like a metaphorical context. A smorgasbord is like a collection of a bunch of random crap just stuffed together.
I was just gonna say, it sounds if it's a sandwich board, it just kind of sounds like what you would get at like a.
It is
like,
definitely a sandwich board, yeah. Not that I've ever had one personally, sadly.
Sounds like what you get like when you go to like a do or like a wee event. You get like a nice wee like egg meal. You get an egg meal sandwich. You get like a ham sandwich.
Yeah, no, it is definitely like one of those kinds of buffets that your regular sort of like 2016 startup company would put together for the employees. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. 2016 specifically. Nice.
I mean, that was kind of like when startup companies really caught wildfire, and even like every single sitcom and TV show and cartoon just decided to like ride into the ice, right into the skid. We saw a couple of funny episodes from South Park also come out with startup companies. If wink wink nudge nudge, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, let's not talk about. But what we can talk about is what's going on here. But equal on half, equal on the score count, equal on the man count for the time being. Although Kevinator will just get found out and be forced to drop off. I guess the map control very much deteriorating here for all Birmingham is already. The swings are ready to come through from Trent Warfare. They can't quite collect. Finally, will do. Kevinator at least gets the trade back though. 2 doors.
Yeah, and now he's actually not going to evacuate. He's going to decide to overstay his welcome inside of construction, and Trent don't know about it. Kevinator's gonna slap down Skyer with that deagle, and he's still got it whipped out. Finds another. A headshot connects as Crypty is gonna trade things back, but Crazy is right there to rip the man advantage back into the favor of Birmingham. And Crypty all alone on an island in a 1v3 with a bomb on his back. Well, my man, I wish you the best of luck, because this seems like an impossible situation.
Impossible indeed. And I guess 3 kills or 3 1v1s isn't the most impossible, especially when you get spam like that onto at least one. Crypty's somewhat missing out the second though. Toxic Babes now to come through with a minute left. It won't be the most effective, we obviously know that. Denying a space for at least 10 seconds of time. But they will be in a decent space. That, oh my god, that shield still staying up is pretty rough.
Yeah. Sometimes I also keep forgetting that the blast radius of that breeding ground got nerfed a couple of years back. Crypty finally going to deal with the shield as well, but still has yet to deal with the 3 souls on the opposite side of the spectrum. He needs to see his name pop up 3 times in the kill feed to convert a 6 and let Trent actually sit on this map point. Crazy has got this entire fireplace rotate completely locked down, or so I thought. Crypty in all his genius somehow manages to get away with just 1, but now you have to do that twice over, my friend.
Twice over indeed, and is going in towards the belly of the beast. Let's be honest here, they are going to see the toxic babes completely close out this site, as well as 2 guns as well. It's not going to be easy for Crypty, but needs to make the move, needs to make it work, and does have 6 seconds, but peeks out in towards Skidders. Well, makes a skid all over the back of the wall after the bullets leave the body.
Yeah. A for effort coming out from Crypty as well. If he would have been able to pick up that frag onto the Warden inside of Train initially when that first wild spray came on through, completely different story. He would have had roughly 60 seconds to then deal with the 1v2 accordingly. But the fact that he wasn't able to get himself that initial sort of isolated 1v1 when it was presented, it kind of just crumbled. And once again, seeing a little bit of a repeat from what we saw a couple of rounds earlier, you're just delaying the inevitable. And as such, the Brummies, well, they're going to sit not so comfortably on map points. Trent Warfare, they need to find 5 frags in order to threaten the issue of overtime. It could potentially happen. And we're going to be revisiting this bottom floor kitchen bomb site, which has seen mixed results for the Birmingham side, having won it once and lost it once.
I remember when it was lost was kind of the same reason how they won it, was that initial regression. Like the kind of with the way the gunfights went,
yeah.
Trent Warfare were able to like kind of gain this massive advantage and just like extrapolate it to its maximum. But in terms of how it happened in the kind of the round that it was won was again just taking heads.
Yeah, I mean, the last time that it happened, we saw Trent put the right foot forward when it came to addressing that bakery hold. But Birmingham were just a little bit more aggressive with their response. We saw Enchanter go for a swing from Kitchen Prep, and Kevinator also was primed to go for a swing of his own. And we're going to be seeing potentially a little bit of deja vu, but at the very least, one of those Twitch drones actually finds a connection with the ADS, and that does disable it temporarily, but nobody is actually on the opposite end to, continuously toss out an HE. At the very least, they are going to block out a little bit of line of sight thanks to those smoke grenades, but Enchanter still got a little bit to work with right here.
Ready. Oh my god, Kevinator, what a swing! The nomad or the ear jab, whatever you want to call it, is going to catch out the Kevinator just on the return, but nobody's there to capitalise, and that's a massive advantage for Birmingham in this round.
From all of the things that I could have expected to happen, that was not on the list, because realistically, why would you forfeit control of bakery so early on to go into wedding? You don't really see that happen, and I think Dig was just about as caught off guard as we were. At the very least, now Trent Warfare, they've got themselves a beachhead from which they can conduct warfare. Exothermic Charge is going to open up that kitchen wall. Crypty's already dug himself deep inside of Prep. I don't think they realize this. Matt is going to get a little bit curious, and he pays a very costly price for doing so.
This is a massive foothold at the moment here for Trent Warfare in terms of the space and the control that they've managed to gain. There is Crazy.com trying to retake from above. Will they find at least one?
Oh, this is brilliant.
Don't think so. It's a nice little play to those, but isn't finding a capitalisation that you'd want them to. Although they will pepper up fire, they won't capitalise. And now the yokai starting to come through. The smokes as well, denying these lines of sight. And well, they're going to have to get the bomb down. But will they do it? Well, at least they'll get one player down. There goes Fire.
Yeah, and Kevinator's completely retaken wedding as well. Crypty is going to just even out the scales yet again. Trent, they've got more than enough time to work with. 50 seconds is plenty of time to reevaluate this plan, but you've got to fish out for these yokai drones. Both of them are still active. T-Moz is once again going to be forced to hold down F for what is probably the 4th time in this round, and Skitters is going to hold Mouse 1 for the 2nd time. There's another bit of plant denial coming on through, and Trent are completely oblivious to these yokais. One may or may not have just been shot. There goes the second. Suddenly, the alarm bells are starting to ring for Trent because... Oh no! That's a shot of a lifetime coming out from Skitters.
That's massive, and now Trent Warfare really need to get the afterburners on and really need to try and claw this round back. Crypty at least has 3, but look at this. It's a fortress at the back of sight for the Skittles and Enchanter. They're going to down the second. There goes Seer, there goes the Nomad. It's down to 1 versus 1 with 1 second left. Birmingham will win it in the last second just because of a planned denial.
Oh my god, and Crypty had the right idea, charging on through with just 2 seconds left. He thought that Skitters was just hunkering down behind the bomb chassis, but that's where the last injure came on through, and didn't quite realize at the very, very tail end that he was right at his feet the entire time. If that would have been a kill actually found for Crypty, we could have been running it back yet again for potentially 3 more rounds in overtime, but not to be the case. Damn good effort coming out from Trent right there towards the tail end, but it is Birmingham on a little bit of a fluke and some brilliant yokai usage that are able to get themselves yet another win under their belts.
Massive night of Siege so far. 2 and that's only the first best of one as well.
Yeah, I know. And we do have a second match coming up on through, but before we do hop it or actually throw it over to a short little break, I just want to go ahead and actually highlight the implications of this match, because the Brummies, they were sat on 5 points in total. Now they have 6 points, placing them within the top 6 teams so far, which as far as I know, would basically guarantee them a spot into playoffs. So GG's and congratulations to Brummies for that one. They are officially within the Cool Kids Club. They're part of the elite right now.
Yeah, still 1 game to go though, 2 and teams will be amassing points themselves elsewhere. But with that being said, I think we should take a quick break as we get set up for this next best of one, and well, we get ready to sign off the night.
What is that?
It's cutting edge VR, Flynn.
It looks like it's something from the future, you know?
Flynn took a trip to future London. Saw something she wasn't supposed to. Now people from there are trying to kill us.
Transcend humanity with Omen.
Drop dead gorgeous, Toodles. I don't think I'm that good look. I'm not as good looking as you, fella. It's hard to share a desk with you sometimes with how gorgeous you are. Oh gosh. Yeah. Oregon, yeah, a map that nobody can seem to ever escape. And well, let's hope we get a little bit the same as what we got last time round two. Those in that first best of one, it was a little bit of a tasty one. So this time, Oregon, hopefully it's just as good. Yeah, I 100% agree. Toodles. If you just caught out what Toodles was miming there, he was just talking about the last series and how good it was. But as for this series particularly, I mean, we're just talking about hopefully how it would line up and how close it would be, coming down to a 1 second shootout. Toodles. Now, let's hopefully this is the same.
Okay. So apparently I've been miming the entire time. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen, but now I should be properly back and you no longer have to try to read my lips, as it were. Oregon, we were Fox Ears versus the side of Edinburgh. Flores is an operator that we did see ban just a little bit earlier in our cafe matchup. And now we're also going to see Nook join Mr. Argentina on the bleachers. This is a little bit more expected. Nook is just such an absolutely prevalent operator nowadays, and there is realistically no way to stop her aside from banning her.
On top of that, Flores is just good on his own. You know what he's like. Apologies there, my throat just went. Did you hear that? Did you see how
I didn't hear that, no.
I was quite surprised. But yeah, I mean, all the bans so far make complete sense. And on top of that, looking towards kind of how good Flores can be attacking drones. Oh, you can hear it now. I can see you just giggling away. Apologies. My eyes are watering and everything. I'll give you a second.
Twitch chat, you guys don't know what he's doing and is going to stay that way. You guys can try and play a little bit of a guessing game, but man has just been scranning a little bit too much. It's kind of like...
it's certainly not scran. It's actually my throat.
It happens. Either way, though, Oregon, here we come, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be starting off on the top floor. It is going to be the kids' dorms and main dorm. Our first bomb site of choice for the evening. I do see Senro, at the very least, flashing that Zero. Zero's an operator that I absolutely adore in the current climate of Rainbow Six Siege. Those cameras, being able to basically just pop them wherever the hell you want. It is such a valuable tool that you have, on top of the fact that it can help burn utility in the event that a Jaeger or Omai is present, which definitely is for the side of the Foxes.
Oh, Toodles, I'm finally back in order. I don't know what I had
Welcome.
I had to drink a literal gallon of water. You don't know how much water is like strewn across my room right now. But for the good part is that I'm finally back and ready to go. And so are these players. Zero obviously interested, as you already highlighted. But I don't think we'll see many in terms of a change or something that will surprise us. Maybe a little blitz, but again, I don't think there'll be much in terms of. I guess the operator lineup is what I'm trying to say is very rigid when it comes to this map.
Yeah, it's basically already been set in stone for as long as I can realistically remember when the rework of Oregon was introduced back in year 4, I think it was. Part of me wants to say year 3, but it was definitely been year 4 of the game's lifetime when we said goodbye to the gloriously unlit version of the map that you can only find in montages from 2017 nowadays. JS, down below on the Valkyrie. Well, he's definitely up to what I could only assume is no good, and he's already got a couple of little fish swimming around in his massive shark tank up below, and he could pounce at just a moment's notice.
Depends what side of the scoreboard you're on here, Toodles. Could be up to no good or be up to all the good in the world. A little bit aggressive here from AUE Lobs. They're trying to get aggressive, but can't quite find anything as the bullets start to fly. Nothing quite hits, but I'll tell you what has hit. JS has been found as a swing comes through. Wimble gets taken down, and there goes Ski. It's not looking good. A minute and a half gone, and already we were Foxiers have taken 2.
Yeah, I really love this style of play coming out from Edinburgh, just throwing caution to the wind and taking up any and all gunfights. Or excuse me, the side of Foxes, that play style in particular. In Edinburgh, they are definitely suffering from it. Akiway is able to double down, lines up a second onto Hami, and now it's all down to Senro and Panda in the 2v4. They have got, well, not a whole boatload of map control to work with. They can definitely go and stick a default plant, but at this certain stage, when you have to stick down a 7-second defuse, you are effectively missing out on one gun. And a 1v4 for your cover to try to pull off at this current state of the round, yeah, I don't see it happening.
Unfortunately for the Edinburghers, I'm not going to find much here. Well, maybe with 45 seconds left, they need a miracle here. Maybe some intervention, divine intervention. I don't think they're going to find it, although just miss out on the Azami. Yep, 35 seconds now to get this plant down to those and find 4 kills.
Yeah, we are going to see a little bit of an ingress come on through, and Senro is going to immediately be clapped down. They know where Panda is, and at this certain point, he is a dead man walking. Sure, he might have the defuse, and sure, he might have enough time to probably get a rev or a revive in. It just doesn't really seem plausible. It doesn't seem tangible at this certain stage. He is definitely going to go for it. Senro with a full AR back up in fighting form as Panda strikes down 1. JS with the trade, and Aki is going to climb his way up to a triple to close off the round. A very convincing start off on the top floor for the Foxes. And Edinburgh, well, couldn't really climb over the hurdles at any certain point.
No, but there was plenty of hurdles to cross, but again, as you say, Toodles, I mean, weren't dealt with accordingly. It's extremely unfortunate, but we move and see exactly how things can go on. Just wondering how the next round will go. Another big bomb site which has been dealt with many a time, and surely a lot more comfortable for these Edinburgh players.
Yeah, hopefully so. I mean, realistically speaking, nothing has truthfully changed when it comes to the defensive setup. If I could potentially just take you all the way back down memory lane, back to when Goyo had actual shields instead of canisters. This was an absolute hellhole to deal with. This elbow position, as well as Shaiko and anything going on inside of E-Box, meant that you had to bring, usually the meta was back in the day, both a Zofia and an Ashe, and then any other frag grenades surrounding the roster. But obviously the times have changed, but we were Foxiers, they kind of just want to cling on back to traditionalism at the very least. 2 catchers, you've got the Goyo with those canisters placed in a lot of bottlenecks, because that is basically just what the entirety of the basement is. It is so claustrophobic, it is so narrow, there are so many bottlenecks where your feet are going to be touching fire when those go off.
It's not only that though, Toodles, when you think towards what exactly is going on here, we essentially have a, I guess, I don't want to call it a movable shield, but you have those kind of Zama barricades that could somewhat work as one, although we are just going to get little bit of aggression already, sending stuff through. Lots of here stuns as well as something to try and break things down. But why use that util when you can just use bullets to break people down? Already one player gone, and it is that eluded Azami.
Okay, now shield inside of elbow as well as the ADS is going to be blown sky high. So we're going to patch up that a hole, Mr. JS. And Steamy actually wants to take matters into their own hands, but you can't go through that barbed wire without making a boatload of noise. And having two people stacked over towards Pillar is just like shooting fish in a barrel for Wimbledon. And he's already in the prime position to cut off this entire rotation. Well, the Foxes, they're slowly, actually, no, they're quickly starting to run out of comfortable room.
Well, as the players now start to move in and take the space that was essentially given to them, Hammy swings wide, gets GS. Here comes all the bullets, all the players taking gunfights now. Although a re-aggression comes through, a little bit of a trade for Steamy Carrot. Oh no, but this is it. They've really overstayed their welcome. One player left, it is Pandas, the Goyle, and they are all the way back. Having to fight all the way in towards Highway. They spray through, they've given away their position, and now the post plant looking so clean for Edinburgh here.
Yeah, Panda's already lit up a whole bunch, set it around 20 HP in every single avenue, including Highway and Elbow, and the physical bomb site itself closed off. He'll somehow need a miracle to just click on heads like we've never seen before in Siege, but ultimately not gonna happen in any way, shape, or form. So it is Edinburgh clapping back with a round of their own as they tackle that basement bomb site quite well, to say the very least.
Very well, indeed. I think, again, it was over-peaking, what cost them the round, I think, for We Were Foxes. I think this is a kind of general consensus that we'll see across probably most games, as these kind of gunfights that really change up the round, space being lost. I mean, JS going for a retreat on that last round there, getting caught out by the head height holes and E-box. That's just stuff that, simple stuff that, I mean, even the players themselves will be frustrated with.
Couple of mistakes committed by the Foxes in the previous round, so hopefully they'll be able to rectify things in this next round. They've dropped the Goyo instead. They're going to be donning the Mozzie in this particular round. And obviously at this certain stage, yeah, trying to I'm not exactly sure if Mozzie is really the correct operator to bring in this instance. I mean, the pepperoni as a weapon, it has been to hell and back. It has received a whole bunch of nerfs to the point that I don't really feel comfortable picking it up myself if I were a pro player. And on top of that, on a bomb site like Basement, you're not really going to be doing yourself all that much good denying drone and intel gathering potential on the side of the attackers, just because, well, this bomb site is almost as old as time itself. The only way you can effectively counter the counter to intel is by employing a heavy roam, which is what the Foxes are trying to do.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is what have Edinburgh done every single time? They've done a basic default in terms of they've gone towards blue, they've taken blue, and they've went towards Big Tower as well. Wimbledon already finding Azami as they try to rotate back. Unfortunately, there is a Thatcher on the board, and they are going to use that lineup that we're seeing here that is denying the ADSs. Smoke Babe's already being burned through here, and this util just not quite working out here for the We Were Foxiers.
Yeah, Edinburgh for the second time in a row, very efficiently removing the elbow presence, but Panda's going to overstay his welcome for a little bit. JS finally gets a little bit of impact, gets a trade onto Wimbledon as well, so that puts us back on even footing. 4v4 as Panda is looking to try to reclaim this territory. It's been drilled down for him, but question is, are you going to go down with the ship, my man? Pandas finally gets a trade, but Pandas reclaim, or there's two Pandas. That confused me for a little bit of a second. Steamy Carrot will reensure that the man advantage stays with the defensive side. He is not going down without a fight, and Ski had to learn that the hard way.
Well, Sophia now has to do it all to those, has to find at least two, and it's not a hard task being on it, to be honest, considering there is at least 1 minute and 20 seconds, so there's so much time that they have to deal with, and the only problem is, though, is in terms of information gain for them, is there is only one drone input or out there that they can use. Steamy Carrot doesn't get quite found out, but did give away the audio. But the fact that they used to be an elbow.
And the fact that it doesn't get patched up either means both parties can go for a swing, and that is very costly for JS. It's going to leave his teammate Steamy Carrot in a 1v1 clutch or kiss scenario, and the same thing can be said for Senro right here. 45 seconds, Kit just about to be picked up as well. So both teams now, they've basically got a whole bunch to play with. Senro now inside of E-Box, and Steamy Carrot really doesn't have to budge an inch. Doesn't need to move a muscle. I like this coming out from Senro to place down the Claymore, but intrusive thoughts are going to win as Steamy Carrot tries to go for a swing, and Senro is now going to stick that defuse.
Oh no, if they potentially hit the Claymore here, 2 doors, they're not going to. They're just going to swing out and win it out. Fantastic from Steamy Carrot. Gives we are Fox Ears an advantage once again.
Yeah. That was just about as well played as it could have been. I mean, the first couple of swings, in my eyes, were a bit ill-advised. You didn't really have to give Senro an opportunity to shut you down, but at the very end, he just bided his time extraordinarily well, went for the right swing at the right time, the moment that he heard that sound cue. Yup, the defuse has been stuck. Gives me about half a second to pounce upon while I know my opponent is getting out of that defuse animation to just go for a swing, win out the heads-up gunfight with an HP disadvantage, and now the Foxeers, they finally get themselves a round win down below, and that does mean that the top floor unlocked, so we're going to go ahead and revisit it.
Again, remember last time, 2 doors, it was all these kind of yip-yap engagements. Players in towards the attic position, being able to engage or like, engage players that were out in tower, etc. Like then being able to engage in towards master bedroom. It just really was such a hard task. That panel being open obviously was exactly what happened last time.
Yeah.
So what is the difference from Edinburgh?
5 seconds remaining.
At this certain stage, the difference has to be win your ones,
Attackers must locate
realistically
and defuse
speaking.
the bomb.
Because in the previous round, it was Aki that was able to get himself definitely a triple kill, if memory serves me correctly. First and foremost, by swinging the default Closet Breach, which is a gunfight that as an attacker, you should be winning more often than not the moment that that breach has gone open. You can't let people like Aki actually get away with that, on top of every engagement that they lost over towards Attic, which alleviated so much pressure for the Foxes. They only had to worry about one avenue from the south, that Closet Breach. So at this certain stage, Edinburgh, you've got everything, all the pieces of the puzzle completely set in stone. And speaking of puzzles, well, they've got a rush cooking up.
Certainly looks to be something like the liquid of old that we saw, especially with the line and the blitz, etc. GS is close. They've broke the window with the Gone 6, and here we go. All the utility comes through, flying in already. There is going to be a break in the floorboard. It's whether GS goes and tries to take that position.
Oh no!
The C4 takes out their own player. Panda takes out GS's trades every single place, and it's all even at this moment in time, especially with the blitz coming into their hobo. A key position to get the diffuser down, and finally it will be down, just like the blitz. Diffuser though, still not committed.
No, and as the dust settles, Edinburgh left in an effective 2v2, but guess what? There's still one more Candela left in pocket. Senro narrowly goes out for the swing. Instead, it's actually Pandas to clean up the injured player and the Ying over towards that big window, so the case has gone cold, and it's Wimbled on the opposite side inside of this trophy gallery, inside of the Hunter's Lodge, and they know effectively where he is. He's made himself known, and with 70 seconds left to play with, you have to just hope that you'll be literally spoon-fed isolated 1v1s.
Yeah, already Flash is being used, one left, and all the ADSs. Oh god, the SMG-11 with a swing. The recoil a little bit bouncy, and while riding the wave was Pandas going for the reload here. I mean, Wimbled really apprehensive to try and peek through. Can't quite find much. Holding a pixel, thinking that maybe someone's on white, but surely they've already seen the 2 players. One in Attic and one in towards the kid's location. Although able to sneak away with one, the shotgun comes out. The Mossberg wins it though. Pandas, I believe, with a 3-key on the round.
Yeah, a 3-piece to close it off. He was the hero that the Foxes needed, being able to, well, essentially just help them out in the late round, because it was actually AUE Lobster that was doing the majority of the heavy lifting at the very start, when a lot of crazy stuff just happened on through with the rushes that Edinburgh were trying to pull off through that big window. So it was Aki that basically laid out the road, and all Pandas really had to do was just walk it afterwards. But either way, a good cleanup of the top floor now puts them effectively 2 for 2 in the last 2 rounds. So a 3-1 scoreline means that we're gonna have to visit one of these quote-unquote tertiary bomb sites, and well, the preference lies with this dining and kitchen side for the Foxes. Interestingly enough, I don't see a Maestro, which is usually your staple operator for holding on to showers. So you could potentially stick Aki onto the Azami to play from inside of showers, but from what we've just seen, man loves his gunfights, and you don't really want to put him on a leash to save the very least.
I think it's a far more aggressive hold here, Two Doors, going even further. I think as well, another thing to think about here is exactly what they're going to get out of this, considering the fact that you've got your Wamai committed up the stairs in a pretty vulnerable location. The rest of the site not quite committed or quite done either. They're looking to see if there's anybody spawned outside on the cams, but they're not finding much. They're already outside of this small tower location. Hammy on the glass as well.
Well, this is my name. He's on a suicide mission. The majority of this round now falls upon his shoulders as to whether or not he can stay alive for long enough. And yeah, we already have our answer. That is a big fat nope. Oh, good catch by Hammy right there.
Massive, massive, massive catch. But I tell you what's even bigger. The fact that Edinburgh have got 2 picks. Massive advantage again now as they start to move through the map, taking control of small tower. And the fact that the Azami is still holding a long angle on towards small. I mean, they're going to have to rotate back. Already they've got the work done. Spam back through the floor. But they realise surely that one of the panels is soft.
Oh, that C4 could have probably denied the exothermic charge, but realistically just create an even bigger hole. Doesn't really matter though. Wimbled is going to once again further the man advantage for Edinburgh. Already 90 seconds in, and they have a +3 man advantage, which is insane to think about. On top of the beachhead established, whoa, what an angle coming out from Ami right there. Finds Aki through the little slits of those Kiba barriers, and Steamy Carrot is going to tip the scales back, but only by 1. And we're just going to have a plant come on through momentarily as Senro works his way into the bomb site. This one should be locked in for Edinburgh. Nothing that Steamy Carrot might be able to accomplish right here.
It really could be the case, and there we have the confirmation. Hammy finding the last remaining player, putting himself into prime position for getting a 3 each half, which would be massive again for Edinburgh, considering somehow some of the rounds have went.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think Tudors you can get easily taken away with how the rounds have been won, because you feel as if for the most part where Foxies have won the rounds more convincingly than Edinburgh, but that last round certainly puts a stop to that thought.
Yeah, no, it was just in that last round where we actually got to see a couple of chinks in the armor for the side of the Foxes, and it really just came down to the amount of resources and effort that they put into a small tower hold, which crumbled within the first 30 seconds by a tiny little pixel angle that Hami was, yeah, just good enough to see. That's realistically the only thing that happened, because this is my name. I mean, look, you can try to hold on to small tower in a bunch of different fashions, but hiding behind a desk, which is nothing more than a false sense of hope and a false sense of security, it shouldn't be the only thing upon which your entire strategy revolves around. Hami was able to just find one tiny little orange or yellow pixel to look at, press mouse 1 a couple of times, and then suddenly you've just won easily more than half of the real estate that you need for a successful execution.
I also don't like using operators in those like playing your life locations when they with like utility that reproduces almost, because those 1i discs could have been helpful elsewhere.
It is an interesting conversation, because if you stay alive for long enough, their value just surges.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, it's not one for us to talk about just now, but what we can talk about is the fact that we are seeing the exact same setup, which Edinburgh really did start to work with and start to gain some advantages. Yes, they lost one round, but it was due to a clutch. At this situation, though, they're feeling the pressure, they're feeling the heat, so already a couple of players have been peppered up.
Yeah, Ski has, well, eaten up quite a couple of 9mm, I think, from AUE at the very tail end of that garage side. Wimbled narrowly manages to get away with a gunfight, but it is Steamy to recover faster from that air jab, get back up on his feet, and just take up the heads duel. So, Edinburgh, they found themselves now in a 4v4 situation and still haven't gained a whole lot for their troubles, yet to actually dislodge Pandas from this elbow hold. And you've got This Is My Name also inside of Shaiko. We Wear Fox Ears, they're not going to give up this entire bunker side without a fight.
No, they're not. Oh, God. I thought for a minute Hammy was actually the real deal there. Oh, but Hammy's already cleared it out. They know exactly what's going on, although just keep the information, the real thing is coming through soon. In terms of what's happening in towards blue, I mean, Edinburgh really need to get a move on. There's 1 minute and 12 seconds left, and We Wear Foxes have really done a great job of delaying so far.
I have no idea if there's a pancake or an ADS, but that HE doesn't find contact either way. It is AUE to shut down the backstage presence. Hami, well, gets decapitated as Centro is going to go for an entry. This is aggressive, and it nearly pays off, but now Edinburgh on the back foot, and it's nothing but a sea of blue that paints the kill feed as the Foxes take 4 in the first half.
Yeah, that is a big round for We Wear Fox Ears. Put himself in a really good spot moving on towards the attack. 4-2 is almost standard now. It has been almost standard for a while now in terms of halves, just because of those tertiary bomb sites that we see. Kidstorm still, I guess, easily, with how long it's been in the game, we could see the attackers win it out. Hopefully a much better attack here. We'll need to see the sides have been flipped, the roles have been flipped. The onus now on the side of We Wear Fox Ears to really get this half going.
Yeah, the shoe is on the other foot to see if they can just continue their little bit of ripping and tearing on the attacking side, or if Edinburgh can find a way to actually bounce back on the defensive side. We still have, yeah, just one particular player, unfortunately, that is still Ski sat on a goose egg. This Is My Name was also sat on a goose egg until the very last round, and he was able to get himself a nice little pick from inside of that Shaiko position. But now going up to this top floor, I doubt we'll actually see a very sort of aggressive, rush-heavy kind of approach coming out from the Foxes side. Instead, it's going to be a little bit more methodical. We've got this dual hard breach setup, and just a little bit of classic Yana and Sophia to round off the lineup. I'm not exactly sold on just the 2 frag grenades setup. I would have definitely loved to see 4 of them in total, just because almost the entirety of this floorboard on the top floor, it is destructible. You can very easily get yourself either a little bit of softening damage or just outright kills with those HEs with the right intel.
Already we are seeing intel being gained by AUE Lobster. Wimbled on that flank though, has got a ping. That C4's not good. Although will it be? Unfortunately not. 2 doors underneath the double bed. That Yana will stay alive, not even taking an inch of health, but will give away the notification. There are players below. Yeah. How do We Wear Foxes deal with it? They're already thinking about sending drones, etc. One player now watching the flank actively, which is massive and actually real-time investment for We Wear Foxes on this flank for the time being.
Realistically, for the Foxes, you don't even have to actually try to hunt down Wimble. Just keep him where he is and have someone on flank watch, or at the very least a drone, because there are no rotates from him at the very bottom of main to somehow work his way back up to Hunter's Lodge and the rest of the map. And there's no way that he could potentially even deal with this attic approach, because that time commitment as a rotate through basement is probably just a bit much than he could already afford. But I think he's already worked his way on off. The Foxes have already got an attic open, so now Panda has another couple of headaches to deal with.
Another headache will be those pinging, well, those pingers, the noise grabbers. You know what I'm talking about too.
The drones?
They start to, was it?
The drones, the pingers, the what?
No, the noisy.
Oh, the proxy alarms.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the names, so I was just coming up with like those pseudo names. But they were going off for the time being. Given notification there is players close by already, though. Hammy finding Steamy Carrot as HE sent their way, but not able to find it. We'll get down though. GS finding Wimbledon. The flank coming through. And it looks like the Habana is aware.
Yeah.
Although, just taking their time to clear it out. Don't want to give too much away because this could be massive in the round.
Oh, this is actually very well done from Hami. He's just letting the Hibana actually get curious, and now this is my name. Well, thinks that threat just completely evaporated, and Hami's gonna regain control of Diffuser as well. Can actually block these off, and oh no, JS on the opposite end of the Kiba barriers now has to try to punch his way on through, and guess what? He's got 2 other defenders directly behind him, and with 15 seconds left as we hit mission critical, what you gonna do, bub?
Not much indeed. Tammy and GS do trade it out. I think so, yeah. Tammy and GS, I was just waiting. I thought the kill cam was trolling me there, not to be, with 4-3 the scoreline. Good top floor hold from the side of Edinburgh. I was a bit worried as they started to move on through towards this half that we would see our Foxes start to really take strides. But I mean, there was a lot of basic mistakes, letting people swing you on the site, etc. Not preparing for flank. It just wasn't ideal for our Foxes, and they let Edinburgh in towards this match.
I mean, truth be told, yeah, the moment that This Is My Name actually went down on the Hibana and top of the attic, that is when the round was basically just completely sealed, because JS was on the opposite side of the top floor, having to scrounge his way towards that diffuser. But realistically speaking, planning for that kind of flank is near impossible, because Hami played it so darn slowly at a glaciers and turtles pace. He was basically stood idly by the back of the backstage staircase, waiting for about 30 to 40 seconds for a swing before finally working his way to the very, very top. There is nothing you can do to counter that aside from being the first person in that engagement to swing, which did not happen. And then you just kind of let Hami get away with a gunfight, and that ultimately won out the round. So the only thing that you can do, sadly, is just be a little bit more aggressive. But on the attacking side, is that really a risk that you can afford to take that late into the round? I don't know.
Risks are something that people always try to take. And
There's
well,
one.
Speaking of risks, Wimbled, my goodness, man. What a shot that is.
That was tight.
It's not only that, those two doses of sledge as well that's gone. So that's 2 grenades off the board. Big operator in the soft breach department. Well, I don't think you have much in terms of soft breach on this site specifically. Still a big loss for those grenades and the guns as well.
Yeah. Losing out on the L85. Bit of a yikes right there. And now, well, we're just going to quickly bide our time as Edinburgh are just going to dunk out Util, and the Foxes hope that they can burn as much of it as possible in the next couple of minutes. They're all lined up outside of this blue end. There is very, very little sort of diversity when it comes to this approach. And I'm just curious and thinking to myself, what is Steamy Kara doing on the very top side with the diffuser as well? They are actually going to offer up control of Elbow this early on with minimal threats. I'm not exactly sure I agree with that from the Edinburgh side.
I mean, at the same time, though, already done their job. The amount of time wasted. Look towards the hard breach. It is only a Habana. I mean, yeah, it can get done, but what's the denial like? Not much either. So, yeah, I guess there's a big question marks here, but we are Foxers now starting to really test what's going on in terms of this setup. Starting to get things done. Bullets coming through. Hami proving that it was the right decision. Takes away the Ayana, and that's a big loss again. More grenades lost.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how many of them were expended throughout the course of this round, but they didn't end up in kills, and those toxic babes are going to push the Hibana of This Is My Name just a little bit further back, as we have Steamy Carrot finally joining in on the fun with a frag onto Ski before Ski shut down Pandas. So a 2v3 effectively ensues as Hami is left to bleed out over by Pillar. Steamy Carrot gonna now waltz his way even further down, finally confirms up the frag, and with 30 seconds left, the defuse will be recovered, but you guys have got to find and pierce your way into the bomb site.
It's about piercing your way in with 20 seconds left. This diffuser now starting to be ferried towards the efficient spot, but the problem is Panda's there in prime position, sees the body, tries to get
no.
it. Oh no, the spam has to bring out the pistol, finally denies, but Oh, the rest of the boys are there to help in. Oh my god, that was a little bit of a hasty moment. A little bit stinky.
Yeah, that was a little bit stinky, but, you know, I can't exactly... I wouldn't be too shook if I was in Wimbled's shoes at that point, because I know I've got two other bros that will definitely bail me out of that kind of situation, but... Messy spraying, nevertheless, it still results in Edinburgh being able to convert that round, and they tie up the scoreline in a blood-soaked bow following a basement defense. So now the question is, which one of those two darn tune little pesky tertiary bomb sites do you actually prefer? Well, we're going to return back down to kitchen and dining, and just 3 rounds ago when Edinburgh, or excuse me, yeah, when the Foxes last visited this bomb site, it went horribly wrong. I can only assume that Edinburgh have got a vastly different philosophy towards approaching this defensive site.
Doodles, let me ask you a question. What is your favourite tertiary bomb site?
You mean on Oregon specifically, or within like the all of the maps?
Specifically.
My favorite tertiary bomb site on Oregon will have to be Meeting and Kitchen. But if you, it's not really even that much my favorite, because there's like, it's not really that much of a competition.
We can no longer be friends.
Okay, fair. If you do want to know my favorite tertiary bomb site across all maps, it would definitely have to be Archives and Archives and Tellers on Consulate. Because they're vertically stacked bomb sites. Like, why do we not have more vertically stacked bomb sites in this game?
Probably
Honestly.
because of the hellish landscape which it creates.
Yeah, but that's so fun. It is so fun, and it is so intellectually challenging for a game that is all about intellect.
This is very true.
Yeah.
As for the intellectually challenged, I mean, hopefully we were Foxiers aren't with this bomb site, because this should be the one that they win out. That's the kind of general rule that we try to create. Yeah. And we expect them to try and get things done, which they already have already. The Thermite has broke the wall. Hammy, though, is controlling vertically the kitchen.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, the plan looks to be going down on that small tower side. Or the aim is that.
I mean, realistically speaking, from that hatch angle, you've got, like, just a couple of pixels to actually shut down a default plant over towards the breach or behind the couch. But if you, for example, decide to go and plant over by USA or just literally anywhere else behind the chassis, that hatch play already becomes so much more redundant compared to what it already is. It doesn't give you a lot of leeway for shutting down any kind of plants from that top floor. Most of that has to come from within the bomb site itself. And it's JS to find first contact, shutting down Panda. Physically, one of the best anchors and one of the top fraggers on the side of Edinburgh. It doesn't bode well for them.
Doesn't bode well. But again, we were Foxiers just taking their time. Anything could happen, anything at any moment in time, and right now there's not a lot of much happening. What a nicely placed nade for on towards Wimbledon's position. Had to drop off, tries to re-engage though, Toodles. Not to be advised at this point in time.
No, it doesn't look very inviting at all, but Aki's just invited himself into the bomb site itself, and he's got the upper hand. He's got the element of surprise. He strikes, and suddenly Wimbled is staring at the spectator screen. The C4 dropped and tossed out, but it finds no connection. Senro will plot back by 1 into the favor of Edinburgh, but the clock's been reset to 45 seconds, and JS with the paras found himself happily another frag. Aki reclaims control of that top floor, and suddenly it's Ski all on his lonesome in a 1v3 with the kit. Now having reduced that clock down to 30 seconds, he's been spawed out, he's been peppered out, he is on an island just waiting for the inevitable to kick in, and it is Aki to deliver a sweet sense of justice for the offensive side on the Foxes.
Aki really was that player that you kind of take the blade and put it between the ribcage, finds a way every single time just to open the site up, open the round up. Magic stuff. Kids and Dom's next door to those. That's our next bomb site to go back to. And remember, this was the one where the flank came through from Hammy. Also, on top of that, the engagement's allowing people just a little bit too close. So Edinburgh, we were Foxiers, going to be well aware of what Edinburgh have in store for them. Again, It's all about adaptions. Not only have you seen a big adaptation, maybe not anymore. I was about to say, we do see the gridlock, but the Nomad being brought instead.
What do you actually think is better for flank watch, realistically? Nomad or... Nomad. Really, you think you're a Nomad kind of guy?
Well, I think that Gridlock, while does a little bit of damage and stuff like that. I think Nomad gives you definitive like, oh.
Okay,
Hello?
off to the ash, but sure.
Attackers
I thought friendly fire
Oh.
was off during prep phase.
Oh, that. Ugh. Well, that's not exactly ideal. Not sure what happened over there. 'Cause it should be a default setting as far as we know, but either way, that's going to get looked into by other people who are qualified because we certainly are not.
Yes.
Back to the action. Edinburgh, 1 round down. They have a very, very short little gap that they need to close off. And if this round goes just about as well as it previously did on their last outing for the top floor defense, then things shouldn't necessarily be all too worrisome. You could very easily get yourself a 5th round, provided that Hammy, well, loses the I in his name and goes ham.
It's always sorry, I've just realised I was muted on thingy, so now everybody's been like, what the hell is this? This whole kind of empty air has not been filled. Realistically, I was trying to fill it 2 doors, but it was the information gain I was just kind of talking about there in terms of what's being done here. Already opening up that hard breach, massive step being taken, and already the Ayana gaining more information. Look at where Fox is. At least 3 or 4 drones active at any given time.
Yeah, that drone economy is still looking really good. 6 active at the exact same time. So Edinburgh, well, for them, there is basically no safe place on Earth away from the intel gathering potential. I like this little zombie barrier that's already tossed on through, but it works both ways, and it gives the Foxes just that much more of a safer approach back in. It is a slight little roadblock, but they will clear it off as well. So full attic control established and gathered. Aki, hungry for a gunfight, but it is Candace to steal away that first blood, and he's already inside of the bomb site, Cairo. He's just caught them by surprise with not 1, but a 2nd as he whips out the sidearm. And this is crumbled just directly in front of the Edinburgh side. It's left me speechless.
Well, sometimes 2 doors, the sledgehammer approach is the one to take, although here it is. Potentially the kitchen knife or the hunting knife, whatever you want to call it. Wimbledon now on the flank, coming back to retake the site. Has found one. But look at this, the rest of the boys are back now to deal with the work, deal with this kitchen knife, and well, maybe blunt the blade ever so slightly. As you said before, the 45-second timer has begun. We're already on 35. We were Foxes close to finishing out the round.
And if they get this done, just a matter of seconds, they will sit on 6 rounds very comfortably on map points, as Wimbled is still struggling to find any little bit of contact with this pepperoni, and he is left on a, well, yeah, just a minuscule little point of HP. Any little bit of a sneeze will actually clean him up, but that's not going to stop him from getting a couple of exits. It's just the one, though, onto This Is My Name, and James is going to shut things down. But ultimately, it is the Foxes being able to buck the trends, pick themselves up around on the top floor, and they sit with a 2-round gap.
Could you imagine if Rainbow Six Siege had an economy? How
It would
important
be crazy. I would love it.
Would you? Are you an economy type of guy?
I'm an avid Counter-Strike enjoyer, and I would love to see an economy in this game.
So you don't economy?
Do it as like an arcade mode. Just do it as an arcade mode. Screw it. Just do it.
Attackers need to locate and
I think we need to you'd also need to like make the rounds ever so slightly longer.
Potentially, yeah. And the funny thing is,
not in terms of time, but like in terms of the match score. Sorry.
Yeah, you could potentially make it just a little bit longer. It'd be really, really cool. Like, I've always theorized it as there are no operators, everyone's recruit, and you have like a select pool of operator gadgets that you can actually buy.
I think it's somewhat close to like how Valorant does theirs. You know, yeah, like you have that like ability purchase kind of thing.
Exactly. You can just purchase an exothermic charge. You can purchase a Twitch drone. You can purchase. Well,
But
it doesn't
how
make
does it
sense.
work in terms of guns?
You just have a select pool that you could probably just buy. Some of them with higher damage. I don't think you'd probably use any attachments because then it gets really complex.
Well, that would be.
Be sure to, well, sub to one of our Twitch channels for when the entire podcast of this theory crafting economy-based siege comes on through. That's not a lie. We're actually doing an episode. Hami takes some more team damage, and Cerno is going to be kicking himself about that just a little bit.
Yeah, not ideal. Not ideal for Hammy. Not a great start as they do attempt this top floor site. And something that we haven't talked about is where Fox Eels are slowly close to finishing this out.
Yep. All that stands between them and an extra couple of points in the standings is just 5 kills.
Oh, no, unfortunate there. Wimbledon misses out on the opportunity, and well, again, it's only a peppering. It's only adding condiments to what is potentially a spicy mix for this round.
At this certain stage, you want to let Wimbledon cook a little bit, and he is going to retreat back towards his Hunter's Lodge, completely giving up Armory. So that means that, well, Aki Way is just going to quickly snag up that free little bit of real estate. JS also clearing out Highway. So now they've got a nice little established beachhead as they have also addressed Attic further up north in the map.
Well, here we go, breaching in towards the same location. We were Foxes have been able to do this pretty efficiently every single time. Although I do prefer a head height on the left side. Wimbledon already looking to see if they can be the Wimbledon, if they can find exactly if there's anybody close by, but Okway elsewhere is the one to get the first. There is a flag coming through, and it is Hammy. They don't get the opportunity, but they give away their location.
Yeah, that's a bit of a rough one right there, and Hami's going to be shut down. The element of surprise no longer on his side, and Pandas just capitalizes on that. Rotate in towards Attic is going to be cut off as well. Patched up, I should say, Wimbledon! Oh, no! Maybe that was a 4x3 moment. I'm not exactly sure, but he turns away at just the wrong moment, and that is a very costly mistake that he has just fed right into the Foxes.
Nest in position.
Yeah, Cerno is going to be dislodged a little bit further out. Pandas is looking to pick up that kill on him, but he actually rushes on in, narrowly gets the lineup with the SMG-11, but not enough ammo in that clip. Panda with a misspray coming out from the 416 means that defuse is going to be stuck. Finds the head of JS somehow, surprisingly enough. But now this 1v2 with the crossfire established right where that little yellow highlight is going to be too tough to combat. This is my name. This is our name. And the Foxes, they get themselves a nice little 7-4 win on Oregon.
Another point for the scoreboard for We Are Fox Eels, and they have done it ever so well. I mean, they just kind of came back. That tertiary bomb site win was all they needed to get themselves rolling, and to those, they just kind of went from there. I mean, Okway, a massive performer there, 12-8, and Stevie Carrot 10-7. So you can just kind of see how well they actually played, just the two top fraggers.
I mean, obviously, stats aside, just sort of running it back to a lot of the highlight moments for Aki, he worked wonders in round number 1, as well as round number, I want to say 3. No, it was definitely either round number 4 or round number 5 on the defensive side in the very, very first half. But man was just racking up multi-kills like there was absolutely no tomorrow. And it gave Foxes... It gave the We Were Fox Ears side a winning chance when they might have realistically not really had one. I don't necessarily want to say single-handedly winning out the majority of rounds for the Foxes, but certainly finding a lot of impact at just the right time. There was something very, very interesting. I think it was not necessarily within the Siege community, but it's something that Cadian, one of the Counter-Strike Pro players, said just a little bit earlier last weekend, and it's something that Aki did absolutely perfectly. He was able to break the rules of engagement at just the right time, deviate away from the standard path, and just rip and tear his way through, basically. 100%,
100% to those. But for us, that is us over, mate. That's the last week of Swiss completely done. We now head into playoffs.
Exactly. We head into playoffs in well, starting from next week, but right now we've still got a few little formalities to get through, and this one's actually a little bit fun, and certainly you won't want to miss. We do obviously have an interview lined up, and it will be on your screens, and we'll be chatting with the captain from the side of the Foxes in just a few short minutes. And I would definitely love to obviously dig into his brain and dig into his thoughts a little bit to see exactly how that match went for them. At the very least, on face value, it was quite the stern victory because realistically speaking, for a map like Oregon, which we basically know all too well with the amount of time that we spent casting it over the last couple of years, usually tends to be a little bit tighter. It's usually one of those maps that goes all the way to the very last and final round of regulation, and you usually see 7-5 score lines or just full-blown OT. So to see it cut short is a weird change for me, I've got to say.
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, at the same time, though, I'm happy that we did get a break to those. I'm happy that we do get to bite in towards the interview a little bit early, and something that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, definitely so. I do also want to quickly just go back to the actual standings to see how impactful this match was for both squads. Obviously, the side of Edinburgh, if I can quickly look it up and if my eyes decide to work, they were sat on around 4 points, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the Edinburgh Eclipse were placed 17th, 4 points to their name. And then, well, their yeah, the Foxes, they were, I think, also tied for points. If not, they were just a little bit lower on. I'm not exactly sure what the implications are. Or no, they were actually fifth. So, yeah. So with 5 points, now a sixth garnered for the Fox Ears, they have basically also booked themselves a ticket into the playoffs, joining the side of Birmingham from just a little bit earlier this evening as well. So things are certainly starting, well, to spice up quite a little bit.
It certainly looks likely. I think we are just going to break for just very quickly before we get this interview ready. So don't go far, and we'll get that ready.
What is that?
It's cutting edge VR, Flynn.
It looks like it's something from the future, you know?
Flynn took a trip to future London, saw something she wasn't supposed to. Now people from there are trying to kill us.
Transcend humanity with Omen.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for bearing with us. But we come back bearing gifts, and we have got the captain from the side of We Wear Fox Ears, JS, for an interview, and we're gonna just spend a little bit of time picking his brain and gathering his thoughts. Excuse me. Great to have you here, mate. Congratulations on the win. How are you feeling off the bounce back from that one?
Yeah, it was a good one. I think everyone played really well, especially. It was a lot of people's first time playing on a mainstream like that. It was my first time in a very long time, so it was good to be on the main stage like that, and I think everyone handled it really well.
GS, I was just going to ask you, you were talking just before us, you're saying about being on the main stage. Were you perhaps in any kind of school, any other streams before, any other kind of T4 experience?
Yeah, so a very long time ago, I played in like the first season of Uni Siege back in the States, and a
Okay.
bit after that, I was streamed in one or two CL qualifiers back in 2019
Oh, sick.
with Powerhouse.
Oh.
So uh, that's a long time ago, but yeah. So I've got a bit of experience there, but it's been a long time, so I definitely not as used to it as I was back then.
Sick.
Okay. That's fair enough. Still plenty of experience under your belt, and you were able to obviously lead the boys to a nice little W this evening, and that should also lock you guys in for playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, though, I do want to go ahead and actually get down to brass tacks and start tackling some of the main specifics from the actual game. And it's really just one that really perplexes me. It was round number 5 when you guys were defending that kitchen and dining bomb site, and you guys decided to employ a little bit of a funky small tower defensive setup, which was just very quickly dismantled by Hami with a funny little glass sniper rifle, and just press mouse one like twice, and then suddenly that entire plan just crumbled. Was there, at the very least, to start off, is there a main takeaway from this evening that would have you revisit that strategy to try and readjust things, or is it just something that had went, for example, really well in scrims, and tonight was just a little bit of a fluke?
So we actually don't scrim at all. We've not scrimmed a single time. That strat has worked pretty well in our past matches. It's one of those, or at least from my perspective, it's a tertiary site, and it's sort of one of those of just if we can catch people off guard with a bit of aggression and something that I'm not really used to, and we get a win there, great. If not, then we're confident in our other setups to, get us the wins we need on defense. I think from my perspective, I got a little bit antsy early on where I tried to. I was still sort of in my go mode. I was trying to do a little bit too much. Whereas towards the second half of the defense round, I just sort of try to enable everybody else and make sure the comms were on point and make sure that people were set up to trade and like make plays off me, rather than put myself in necessarily the best position to frag individually. So yeah, I think that's sort of the main thing there.
Sick, man. I guess the one thing that I wanted to focus on was when we went on towards the kind of switch of the halves, and we saw you guys really started to struggle for the first couple of rounds. And once you got to the tertiary bomb site, once you got that win, everything was just plain sailing. Was there any worries, or was there like a kind of reset where you guys went like, oh, we've won the tertiary, let's start to kind of roll with it, or were you just taking it like round at a time?
Yeah, so I'm always like take it a round at a time. Like don't think about the score. Just every round's a new round. Very quickly I might say like, hey, next time we're here, like let's play this a bit differently. Let's play a a different situation like this next time. But then it's into the next round. I'm trying to figure out what the setup is, and it's really just trying to we run a lot of defaults, and it's just trying to try and get people in position to make a play off that, rather than trying to do anything super crazy. Lobster stepped up big in this match, as he did. He stepped up really big in the round before this with like a 20 bomb. So he was really key in like opening up rounds and giving us space to just sort of hit the pause button and say, okay, this is where the last couple guys are. Let's stop, let's drone, and let's set up a good execute and finish these rounds.
Yeah, and you guys did finish the majority of them in obviously in your favor, but Aki, Lobster, what an instrumental player he was this evening as well, being able to I despite the fact that the score sheet only ran, or at the very least read off like 12 kills by the very end of it, his impact was felt throughout the vast majority of the defensive half and also towards the very end. Now I do obviously want to sort of try to put a little bit of attention towards your role as captain / IGL for this roster as well, because we don't exactly know what's going on this side of the screen with very limited information to work with. But given the performances of two of your top fraggers in this particular matchup, how do you as a shot caller technically facilitate those kinds of plays to be made? Do you obviously, or do you, for example, just sort of like take the leashes off and just let them run loose? Or is there a little bit of a give and take where information needs to be relayed before you tell your boys, hey, this is what we should probably do? If it works, brilliant. If it doesn't, then no harm, no foul.
Yeah, so I think a lot of it just comes down to accountability. Like I want in every team that I've ever been on, where I've been a player, I've wanted the ability to say, this is something I see, let me take advantage of it. And I want to be able to trust my teammates to do the same thing, so long as they know that if something goes wrong, that they're also able to take responsibility for it and learn, and most importantly, learn from it. So I try to trust a lot in what they see, especially since we don't practice a lot. Our practice is really just our 4 matches every week at the moment. So it's really just making sure that everyone feels comfortable to say like, hey, this is what I see. Can I make a play here? And most of the time I try to say, yes, go for it. Let's try and catch him off guard. I trust this is a hole in the defense, and we'll see if we can create an opening.
Cool, awesome. Sorry, I totally just had I was too busy like listening to what you were saying, but I just wanted to ask you, do you have any shout outs or anything that you want to say before we kind of end the interview?
I mean, one person that I always got to shout out is my friend Llama Josh. I don't know if you're watching this, but he's been my duo for a long time, back before our days on Powerhouse, and yeah, wouldn't really be much without him. So yeah,
sick, man. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Jacob JS, for letting us pick your brain a little bit following the result from tonight's game on Oregon. In case if you guys in Twitch chat missed it, it was a 7-4 scoreline, and it was quite the series, quite the performance from JS and the rest of the lads on We Wear Fox Ears. JS, thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you guys will have nothing but the best of luck and much success out in the playoffs, and hopefully you guys will be able to bring that exact same fire that you guys did in this evening. Thank you so much, mate. We hope you have a good one.
Thank you for having me.
But so with that now basically out of the way, that does sadly leave us to, sort of go through the last couple of formalities and close off this particular stream before we do obviously head on to playoffs starting from next week, Cairo.
Yeah, it certainly is to those. And I mean, there's obviously the sponsors that we need to thank here at the UK and Ireland University Esports or Amazon Esports competition here.
Indeed, we do. So obviously, massive thank you to, as you can see on the bottom half of our screen, Prime Student as well as Omen, Prime Video as well, and Prime, I already did mention Prime Student. Silly old me. Prime Video, Prime Student, and Omen, thank you to each and every single one of you guys for making everything that we do here on the back end possible at the Newell. It's really does go a long way for us to put up these kinds of shows and get as many people involved as possible to spread nothing, well, but I guess just absolute love and joy with Rainbow Six Siege and all of our other tournaments and all of our other games that we host over here. From myself and Cairo, it's been an absolute blast to well, narrate the evening for you guys. And obviously I do want to spread a thank you to everyone else working behind the scenes, Shrickle as well as Jossie pressing the buttons behind the scenes, and everyone else from the tournament organizer, the admins, as well as Sombrero Bloke, our product manager, for helping bring us basically bring all of this together for this evening. So from the bottom of our heart, thank you so much for making all of this happen. But that does mean that we have to bid our farewells. Caro, any final thoughts? Any last little words?
Excited for playoffs?
Good. That's all we need to hear. We are damn excited for playoffs, and we will catch you next week on Wednesday, same time, same place. Make sure to go ahead and drop a follow on the stream, and also follow us on Twitter at The Newell to stay up to date with everything and anything surrounding Rainbow Six Siege, University Siege. I've been Tudor, that's been JS, and on the opposite end of the screen, that's been Cairo, and we'll catch you guys next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care.